Good evening, good afternoon, wherever you may be. Welcome, 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 welcome to the first episode of Dad Can We Talk right here on Virtuous Streams. I am your host, Gabe Dorsey, and I'm excited about today. I'm excited because this is the first episode, and what I really want to get into on today is why this show exists. What is its purpose? What is it for? What is the goal in doing this show? And to do that, I have to tell you some things first. I have to tell you that my generation is lost. We are lost. I'm not blaming anybody for that. I'm not pointing any fingers for that. But what I look around my generation and I see that we are lost as a generation. And I say we because I myself have been lost. And if you know me, you know my family, I know you're thinking to yourself, Gabe, how can you be lost? Look around your family. Look around. Look at everyone around you. Your mother's a minister, and she's also a dean at a middle school. Your grandmother's an apostle. Your uncle's a pastor. Your aunt's an evangelist. Everybody in your family knows the word. We've had it drilled into us since we were old enough to read, write, and talk. How can you be lost? How could you be lost? The answer is simple. If I could share with you for a minute, when my grandmother, my father's mother, passed, I lost my way. I was dealing with so much pain, so much grief that I did not know how to process it. And my mistake was thinking I was strong enough to deal with it by myself. I thought I was strong enough to deal with that pain by myself, that I could get through it by myself. Pride and ego got in the way. I can keep going. I can keep going. I can do this. I'm strong enough to get through this. And the reality is I wasn't. I wasn't strong enough. But then, you hear those two voices in the back of your head. Now, the first voice, the first voice is real quiet. It's real soft. And it tells you exactly what you need to do. It's a real quiet voice. You know what voice I'm talking about. And then that second voice, that loud, obnoxious, chaotic voice that has every bad idea in the world, that has every wrong idea in the world about how you should handle things. And I gave in to that second voice. I did. I gave in to that second voice and I made a mess of my life. Because again, there I was trying to prove that I could do it by myself. I'm strong enough to get through this. I can do this, feeling myself, arrogant about it. I can do this. And that second voice led me down a path that I wouldn't recommend anybody to go on. One of the darkest places, darkest areas of my life I've ever been in. Because again, that pain that I felt, I thought I could manage it. I could bury it. It's not going to affect me. So much ego and pride in myself, in me, that I felt like I don't need anybody's help. And even after I had made the mess out of my life that it was, I still felt like I don't need anybody's help. I'm going to fix this. This is a mess I can fix. And what usually happens when we end up trying to fix messes by ourselves? We make an even bigger mess until we're forced to finally admit that we need help. But again, that second voice in my head, the first voice is so quiet. Gabriel, you know what you need to do. You know that you need to ask somebody for help. You know that you need to talk to somebody. You know that you need to reach out. You have an uncle who's not some 4 hours away that could come and help you. You have family in the same state as you. It's a bit of a drive, but they can help you. You have so many people in your phone that you can call and they will come help you. But no, I listened to that second voice that told me, really? You're going to go face your family? You're going to admit to the way you've been living? You're going to admit to the fact that you're out here having sex, trying to fill this void in your life? You're going to admit to the fact that you dropped out of school, that you have younger cousins, older cousins who finished, who are about to finish. Your mother went and got 2 degrees. She went back for her master's after she got her bachelor's. And you think you're going to go back there amongst all of them and tell them that? You think they're going to forgive you? Gabriel, you are an embarrassment, Gabriel. You're a failure, Gabriel. You should be ashamed of yourself, Gabriel. They're not going to forgive you. You think they want to hear that the fact that you don't want to show your face at family events is because you don't want to answer any questions about your life, that you would rather go to work than go spend time with your family? You think that they're going to accept you back into their midst when they know that the reason that you don't call, that the reason that you don't text is because you don't want anybody to look at your life for what it is? You think they want to hear that? That they want to deal with that? That they want to deal with you? You're alone, Gabriel. That second voice in my ear. You're alone. You're by yourself. And I'm giving this voice the time of day. I'm listening. So now here I am, roped in by my fear, by my shame, by my guilt, by my pride, by my ego, into thinking that I'm alone, into feeling like it's just me, myself, and that I have to shoulder this weight, that I have to do this alone, that no one will understand. And the family that's around me 24/7, I'm laughing, I'm smiling, I'm joking, I'm acting like life is cool, but I'm lying to everyone. I'm lying to myself. I'm struggling. They say that no man is an island unto himself, and yet here I am on a sinking island trying to keep it afloat, trying to hold everything together. My mother's worried sick about me, calling, asking what's wrong with my son. And every time she gets on the phone, every time my uncle or my grandmother or my aunts or my cousins get on the phone, there I am saying something that's not completely true. Oh, I'm fine. No, I'm good. No, I don't need anything. Nope, don't worry about it. Nope, I'm fine. And the whole time I'm dying inside. I'm struggling under the weight of everything that I'm trying to carry by myself. But that's what we do sometimes as men. We don't want to talk to anybody. We don't want to tell anybody. We don't want anybody to think that we're weak. Reaching for help doesn't make you weak. And that was a lesson that I should have learned myself, and I learned it the hard way. My mother said sometimes in life you're gonna bang your head, but I'm here to tell you I didn't have to bang it as hard as I did, because I was so bent on the fact that I can do this by myself. I don't need anybody to get me through this. I'll clean this up by myself. Hadn't been to church in God knows how long, hadn't picked up my Bible in God knows how long, convincing myself that it's up to me, when that couldn't have been further from the truth. It could not have been further from the truth. And here I am, born in the church, raised in the church. I can get up here and I could quote scripture with the best of them. I could sing church songs like nobody's business. I could list you all 66 books of the Bible. Pick out the parables, the story of King David, the story of King Solomon, the story of Joseph. I know all that. I know all of that. And yet here I am on the other side of those teachings, on the other side of that word. Now imagine The young man who's never had that teaching, who's never had that word drilled in him the way I did. Imagine how he feels. Imagine what he's going through, feeling like there's nobody that understands, that there's nobody that reaches out to him, that can reach him. Because I'm here to tell you, saved or unsaved, I'm no better than the next man. The same dude that sits in the trap house all day selling drugs, we in the same boat. The same dude that doesn't know whether or not to put down his flag and walk away from the streets, we're in the same boat. Because, and I want you to understand this, falling is not exclusive to one kind of man or one group of men. We all fall. We all fall. And I'm here to tell you today, there's no shame in needing help up. There's no shame in needing that guidance, needing that hand on your shoulder, needing that person that you can call and say, hey, pray for me, please. There's no shame in reaching out to uncle and reaching out to dad and reaching out to mom and reaching out to grandma and reaching out to your cousin to say, hey, I need help. And I'm here today to tell you I learned that lesson the hard way because I got to a point where I didn't have a choice. It was made for me. You need help. You have to go get it. You can no longer sustain yourself. You have to go get that help. And I'm here today to tell you that when you fall, any man, when they fall, it is okay to look to your brothers around you to pick you up. And I don't just mean your brothers in the physical, not just the brothers you're related to. I mean the brothers around you that want to see you succeed, want to see you reach your full potential, want to see you be the man that God has called you to be. That's what I mean. Because every man should be able to have a circle of men that they come to and say, I need help. And we're not there to bash them, to throw it back in their face, to hit them with an I told you so. No, we're there to uplift, encourage, inspire, to remind our brother of who he is. All men fall. And there's no shame in needing that helping hand up. And I want to tell you that that is the essence of Dad, Can We Talk? That is what this is all about. That is why this was started. Because not every young man has what I have. Not every young man has the support system I have. Dad is not always there. Uncle is not always there. And let's be real for a second. In some cases, dad has never been there. Because what this is about creating a community of men who are there to lift and encourage each other, to teach each other. Because I can tell you from experience, I can learn just as much from my uncle who's lived way longer than I have, who has way more experience than I have, and I can learn just as much from my little brother. I can learn just as much from them. What I don't know, my uncle may know. And what I don't know, my little brother may know. And what my little brother may not know, I may know. And what my uncle may not know, I may know. This is not a show. If you came on here expecting a show where we just put men down and all we focus on is, oh, dad wasn't doing this and dad wasn't there and I don't know how to do this. No, this is a show about learning, about growing together, about coming together as men, to strengthen us as men in God, to strengthen us as husbands, to strengthen us as sons, to strengthen us as brothers. That's what this is about. This is not for anybody who thinks that, Oh, well, I don't need anybody. If that's what you think, this is not for you. But I'm here to tell you that I don't want you to keep thinking that way. Again, no man is an island unto himself. Even when you think it's just you and you're all alone, you're never really all alone. This is not about saying that I'm going to teach people how to be a man. No, this is about saying that we are going to all learn together as men. We all learn together. We all grow together. Because let's keep it real for a second. There are some things that we as men collectively have to unlearn. There are some traumas, some mannerisms, some behaviors, some cycles that must be broken, must be unlearned, thrown away. If we are to equip the next generation, it starts now. Because if you teach my generation teaches the next generation, that generation teaches the next generation after them, and so on and so forth until we build those better men. Until we all have the tools to go out and say, and not even go out just to our jobs, but out in the world, period, and know how to maneuver. And remember, I've had the word drilled into me since I was old enough to read, write, and talk, and I still lost my way trying to maneuver through the world. That's what this is about. But in order to break those cycles, to unlearn those traumas, to unlearn those habits, behaviors, and mannerisms, we have to have some conversations. We have to have some conversations. They might be painful. Anytime you have to turn around and come to Jesus, it's painful. They might give you that reality check. As my father would say, they might bust you upside your head and make you stop and take a look at your life. But in order to reach who you were really meant to be, in order to break free of all that's in the past, all of that behind you, we have to have those conversations. That is what this is about. That is what this is about. Proverbs 22:6, the scripture this show is based upon. Train up a child in the way that he shall go, and when he is older, he will not depart from it. I'm here to tell you, I got older, I departed from it, I had to come back. I had to relearn, retrain myself, get right. And that's all that this is about. It's about getting right. We lose our way, we fall, we stumble, we slip, we mess up. There's no shame in admitting I messed up. And again, I'm not telling you my story because I want somebody to say, oh, poor Gabe. No, I'm telling you my story because I want you to understand that for every one of me who was raised in the church and brought up and lost their way, there's so many other young men, who don't have half the instruction I had. Not even my age. I'm 22. And I know that legally I'm grown, but I'm not grown yet. I'm not grown yet. I'm not. I still learn daily from those that are around me. And sometimes, fellas, we get stubborn. We don't want to learn. We think we got it. We think we know it all. Oh, I'm good. There's nothing anybody can tell us. But the reality of the situation is you're never done learning. You're never done growing. My grandfather is almost 80, and to this day, he's still imparting wisdom. And even he knows that he's not learned it all yet. Because we're not perfect. We're never going to be perfect. Nobody that's watching this, I'm not going to be perfect. You're not going to be perfect. We as men, we're not going to be perfect. But this is about making us better. This is about getting to that place where you can say, when it's time for you to stand in front of God Himself and He judges you, you can say, I lived my life by the way that you said to live it. This is about bettering husbands to be better to their wives. The Bible says that you must love your wife like Christ loved the church. And let's keep it real, gentlemen. We don't always do that. Not because we don't try, but because some of us don't know what it means. The Bible tells children to honor thy mother and father, that it may be well with you and you may live long on the earth. And sometimes we drill that part into our children's head and we miss the verse underneath it that says, fathers, provoke not your children to wrath. And I know for some of us, it's all we know. It's all we saw growing up. It's what daddy did. It's what granddaddy did. That's just how I was raised. I don't see nothing wrong with it. And I'm here to tell you that we have to unlearn all of that. We have to let all of that go. We can't continue passing down the same nonsense to our sons. We can't continue passing down the same issues to our children. And I'm not telling you this because I think I got it all figured out. No, I'm telling you this because, again, I look around my generation and we as a whole, we are lost. We are lost. And I don't make any excuses for my actions when I fell because I can't. I was fortunate enough to be raised by, I like to say I have two dads. I have one that made me and one that raised me. And I still fell. So this is not about how you may feel personally about the word. This is not about how you trying to preach, you try. No, that's not what this is about. This is just about having conversations that better every man that watches this. This is about, again, breaking all those chains that keep us in the positions we're in, that keep us passing down the same trauma generation after generation. We want healthy families, then we have to start with some healthy practices. We want healthy marriages, then we have to start with some healthy practices. The Bible says the men are supposed to be the head of the household. It says that we have to answer to God for our families, that it's on us to make the right decisions for our families. And if we don't have all the tools, then we can't do that. We can't go before God and say confidently, I did everything right for my family. I did everything right by my family. If we don't have all the tools, we can't say that. This is about men stepping up into the roles that we were intended to step into. My father likes to say that there's a difference between a man and a male. And I'm not going to lie to you. My generation is full of males. I've been a male. I've had male tendencies, male habits. But this show is about unlearning all of that. It's about letting all of that go because we can't continue on the way we have, gentlemen. We can't keep going forward like this. We can't have young men maneuvering the world without a father figure to guide them, with nobody to tell them how to handle their finances, nobody to tell them how to treat a woman. It can't continue. If we want to have generations after us be better, think better, do better, it starts here. For me, what this show is for me is a chance for me to just relearn. Because I'll be honest with you, yeah, I forgot some of the things I was taught. I forgot how to act. I was wilding out. I forgot everything that I was taught, really. So for me, this is about relearning. I'm just as much as a viewer as you are. Because once we begin to have those conversations, we begin to heal. We begin to heal those marriages. We begin to heal those families. We begin to put things back together. And I know I'm young, and maybe you don't want to listen to me. Maybe I'm not the conduit that you can get this message from. But I invite you to just listen. Listen in. See what it's about. From older men to young men, we all still have things to learn. We all still have room to grow. This is for every man. It don't matter your age. It don't matter your race. It don't matter what you done did. It don't matter what you've been through. It doesn't matter. It's time to grow from all of that. To step out of all of that mess and be the man that you are called to be. To be honest with you, I never liked being in front of the camera. I'm not the guy to step into the spotlight. I'm not. I'm comfortable right behind the camera. Gabe, you want to? Nope. But even I can no longer ignore what I'm meant to do. So, fellas, it's time for us to step up. Step up to being fathers. Step up to being husbands. Step up to being brothers and being there for each other. It's that simple. It's time to step up. We're going to have these conversations. We're going to get to the bottom of why there's a disconnect between the older generation and the younger generation. It's going to be a bumpy ride. I'm not going to lie to you and tell you that everything's going to be roses. No, we got some work to do. We got some issues to get through. But I promise you that in the long run, it will be better for you, for your family, for your family's family, and for every generation after us. I promise you it'll be better. I hope I didn't run anybody off. I hope I didn't scare anybody off. Thank you all for tuning in today. And I pray that you were blessed. I pray that it touched you. And most of all, I invite you to join me right back here next week for another episode of Dad Can We Talk on Virtuous Streams. Be blessed.